Hi, good morning. Today, 27th of June, I'm Thomas Sim. Welcome to my channel for video presentations on matters regarding real estate. Today's topic is what issue Bank Negara Malaysia, BNM is Bank Negara Malaysia. So recently there's some statement issued by Bank Negara Malaysia to the developers. So let us go in and see what this topic is about. Issues raised by BNM and ABM. So let me read out from the slide. Bank Negara Malaysia and the Association of Banks in Malaysia, ABM, have communicated to radar two financing issues pertinent to the housing industry, namely loan compression, whereby purchasers applied loan for multiple units with various banks, but made declaration that the purchase was for one or the same unit. And the second statement, the transparency of selling price declared by developers, in which the sales and purchase agreement must reflect the net price of the property after considering rebates and discounts offered by developers. So here it says that many developers are advised to notify the relevant banks in the event that the purchasers are found to apply end financing for multiple units. Bank Negara Malaysia views such cases very seriously and has suggested that purchasers be required to make a necessary declaration if matters continue to persist. Additionally, REDA also like to remind members the importance of good governance and practice, and banks are not hesitant to decline end financing facility for developers involved in any misconduct. So for 3 points I want to make up on, I want to emphasize on this. First point is usually Bank Negara Malaysia, which is a central bank of Malaysia, that means the government control central bank of the nation. Usually is a policy setting as well as fiscal setting type of agency. So they wouldn't usually be interested in making money and making issue out of nothing. So these are the government policies that they are seeing that there is some malpractice or there is some irregularity in the system that they are there to regulate and also to improve. So that means the first point is that Bank Negara would not do something which is for the purpose of selling or increasing the promotional selling of the property. Although their policy setting would want to facilitate such a economic advancement of the country, but they are there as a monitoring regulatory body to see any irregularity. So second point is here is that these two statement or these two issues on loan compression and transparency of selling price, these are actually in a way irregular things. That means they are not right. They are issues that is causing problem. Therefore, the Bank Negara as a regulator steps in. And there's a reason for this purpose because it threatens the financial system of the country. So this is a second point. Third point is that when it gives this statement to the association on the REDA stands for Real Estate Housing Developers Association. So this is an association of developers, housing developers in the mainly in West Malaysia. So if you are a developer registered with the government, then you construct your projects, then usually all the developers, they will form a association to obtain the views from different developers, and then some of these developers are very influential also, and they probably also be sought after by the government in terms of the government policy formation of policy for the fundamental good of the nation. So this third point means that radar is actually the receiver of this consider this statement of attention, that this attention of you are doing something bad, and I am going to inform you. All the developers are doing something hanky-panky, and we are regulator, and we want to inform your members that you do not continue doing this. If you do that, then there is a issue here at the bottom that they say that radar would like to remind members the importance of good governance and practices, because as a association, although you yourself is involved in the business of development and being developer, you have your benefits and profit margin and also your particular strategy in the business, but you need to uphold good governance and practices. So this is against most of the situation of business, whereby business will make more money if there is more leeway and also more maybe you can call it a sideline or deviate from the good policy, because deviate from good policy means that you do something which competitively more attractive to end customer. So this is the 3 points I want to make here. So at the end, these reasons why there were loan compression, there were transparency or pricing issue, it actually rooted or originated from the fact that the business survival of the developers is in the bad shape, and on the point of these recent years, especially after 2013 to now 2020, the economy of real estate industry has not been climbing very well. So therefore, a lot of ways and trying to wriggles and also try to be innovative in giving financial leeway to applicant of the property loans, so mortgage loans. So therefore, the risk would in fact be seen as by Bank Negara Malaysia as not healthy. So let us go into the topic of transparency of selling price, because transparency of selling price is actually very hard to in fact implement, because of the fact that in trade a lot of time price is a unseen decision after many level of negotiation. So in the end, some of the countries, because of the taxation aspect, that stamp duty and also taxes are levied on the transacted price. The lawyers who facilitate, or conveyancing lawyer who facilitate this transaction would have a obligation, or professional obligation, to ascertain that this transaction price is the correct and the genuine transacted price, not the fact, not the inflated transacted price or deflated transacted price. So even in countries other than lawyers, some of the countries, they in fact put the estate agent. The estate agent that handles this dealing need to be responsible for making sure that the transacted price is the correct price. But in Malaysia, this part is actually a blur area, where some of the issues that pricing can be placed on the sales and purchase agreement, but then at the bottom of it is that there is a lot of rebate and discount given to the purchaser. So the pricing that is reflected is not the correct price. So therefore, there is an issue of transparency of selling price. We will go into this discussion with more examples later. So why Bank Negara Malaysia issued this is a reason of making sure that you are giving the correct value to the property. That means the bank is giving out a loan that is not more manipulated. So that particular aspect is actually one of the accounting requirement also. So the accounting principle behind is that there should not be any in a way not any cheating in the selling price meaning that the way that you can make the prices to show that it is facilitating the loan application but the actual amount of the value it should be that particular value which is usually the valuation report by the valuer lah. So let us give an example lah. So this part I would just give an example for handphone a person goes to buy a handphone from a shop and then there is a pretty shop assistant and being attended to and then special place where he can raise and try a few handphones and then even some handphone place has got good corner for drinks and food. And then at the end, this kid who actually selected the handphone and father actually paid for it and it was 1,000 ringgit. However, when this went back, this family went back, they found out that the actual price is actually 900. You can get it at 900 at any other place, but this price of 1,000 is in fact inflated. So in the way you can say that, well, irrespective of whether there is pretty shop assistant or special drink and food, there is a marketing strategy by the shop, by the handphone shop, that to in a way compete among each other so that they can get customer to come to close the deal. So for scenario of this situation whereby a purchaser goes to a developer, same thing happen, and then at the end, the case is that the property became 1 million rather than the retail price, which is 900,000. So in a lot of this type of situation, this 1 million it will be seen as a sales and purchase price, and then the 10% rebate actually be given. So the thing is, in the sales and purchase agreement, the transacted price was 1 million, but the real money that is actually taken by the developer is actually 900,000. So indeed, there was two prices. One is the 1 million, or the other one is the 900,000. So which is the correct price now? So this is the call decision of Bank Negara seeing this issue and try to address this as transparency of the pricing. So a lot of these gimmicks and also methods of how to gain customer by the shop or the developer, these are marketing strategy. And then when it comes to any reason that is a concern of the regulatory body that can threaten the financial structure of the system, then the regulator would come in. So let us imagine further from the aspect of just the father paying it cash. Now you are looking at the father borrow money from the uncle to buy the handphone. On the other hand, on the right hand side, the 1 million actually is borrowed money from bank. So this 1 million borrowed money from bank, or the 1,000 ringgit borrowed money from the uncle, then the uncle or the bank, they would have their position in whether they could recover this money. So this becomes an issue at the time where the banks are dragged in, and being a bank who would want to ensure the repayment of the loan would feel that this particular risk need to be covered. Therefore, the Bank Negara would want to regulate. Of course, if it is a cash deal and the reason that there's no borrowing, then of course the third party, in this case the bank, third party is not really involved in the purchasing of the house, although the property is charged to the bank. But then the reason why the transaction went through was because there was a purchaser who needs to buy the house, and then there was a developer who actually is selling the house. So the bank as a third party being dragged into this risk calculation, and this risk of whether they could recover 900,000 versus the risk of recovering for 1 million. So now we take this to another level in the fact that what is happening in the market. I have a few scenarios you can probably understand in more detail by comparing these scenarios. So what the regulator like Bank Negara Malaysia wants is they want to cut out all the marketing gimmicks and all those and try to ascertain a good standard on how the price is fixed in the sales and purchase agreement. In fact, on this part, a lot of time there is one issue that is trying to come out with the down payment of 10%. So a lot of time it is that the father has to come out with a 90,000 down payment, and then the loan is only approved based on the 900,000 transacted price, which is the true transaction price of the dealing. So in fact, if you take 10% of 900,000, which is 90,000, the buyer has to come out with a cash down payment of 90,000, and then the loan is only 810. But what happened in the market now is a lot of people cannot actually have the cash of 90,000. They have no way to actually sell. The developer has no way to sell the unit if there is this particular requirement of a cash down payment of 10%. And why does the bank not giving the whole 100%? In fact, if the bank can give the whole lot of 100%, then the purchaser doesn't need to, in fact, come up with a down payment and able to buy the house. But this, again, it comes to the fundamental issue of risk. Whether the developer, in fact, sells the house tomorrow at a different price. So this is a fluctuating market where some prices can go up and down, and this year the market is good, the developer may increase price next year. And a lot of this scenario of price fluctuation may make the existing stock, the existing supply of the houses be subject to this fluctuation. So people who bought when it was high and now trying to sell when the new launches become cheaper would have a difficulty. So the bank would want to cover this risk by not giving 100% loan. Of course, in a scenario where the market is good, by giving 100% loan, likely would not have any risk of recovering the loan because the future prices would always on the high side. But then at the moment now, which is coming to a few years, maybe 4 years after the slowing down of the economy, we have seen house prices are coming down because the developers are launching new units at cheaper price, and therefore the older units are able to sustain on the old prices. So the old prices was fixed during the good time, and the new prices now, the new launches now are much discounted from the old prices. So the purchaser or investor who hold on to the old units are now seeing a problem of letting go or selling their units. And furthermore, even that people are cash tight because of a lot of like COVID-19 issue. A lot of people are cash tight. They will not be able to come up with the down payment. So bank wants to take away this risk by being prudent, but then the market cannot have this balancing effect. That means there will be very few people who has this amount of money and able to come out with the down payment. So even you cut out all these marketing gimmicks and even the special promotional, cash rebate, there are a lot of people who are still unable to get a bank loan. So let us compare these two. Price of 900,000, and then you have a loan which is equivalent 100% 900,000. If next year the market is good, the prices, the new launch should go up to 5% higher, then the new launch will be 945,000. So if the loan was given at 900,000, then it is quite secure, protected, because it is still below the 945,000. But if let's say next year, if the market is not good, and then all the other launches are unable to sell, so the probably other developer come up with different design, and then now the price has come down 5%. So the similar size but different developer prices drop by 5%. Then there is a pressure for the existing stock, which is at 900,000. So the loan is given at 900,000. So it means that the loan actually overtake in the sense the actual market value. So the market value becomes 855,000, whereas the loan given out was already 900,000. So this means that there is a direct immediate vaporizing of the 45,000, which is lost. So bank would not want to take this risk. Of course, they do not want to take this risk, so they will not want to give away 100% loan. So what the Bank Negara Malaysia wants is that they want the loan to be prudent. So price of 900,000, but then the loan is given at only 90%. So this is for first and second house, and the third house in the previous policy was 70%. And now because of the Penjana, which was actually an incentive policy launched by the government, that under Penjana, the third house is actually also given at 90%. So unless this Penjana third house and above can only get 70%. So if you look at this strategy of giving less, that means 90% at 810, then the next year, if there is a good market price increase of 5%, of course, it's way below. It's way below the new price. But if there is a negative 5%, it is still protected, because 810 is still below the 855. So this is how bank want to sort of solve this problem of overtaking the risk by giving lesser loan and still charge the property. So in case that the default happen, bank still can get back the total loan amount. Right. What the Bank Negara doesn't want is that, because there are a lot of gimmicks and a lot of ways and incentive to get incentive to buy, to get the purchaser to buy property. So there is zero down payment strategy, where if that is the way out, then what exactly happened is, in fact, the total amount needed is 900,000, because the property is 900,000. So what happened is the price is being jacked up to 1 million. So when the price is jacked up to 1 million, although the bank is only getting 90% of the loan, so it is in fact the actual selling price of the property, so it becomes zero down payment. So in such a scenario, there is, on the paper, on the sales and purchase agreement, the price is actually 1 million. So if you ask the bank will say, well, we thought that the selling price is 1 million, that's why we gave a loan of 900,000, which is correct, which is 90% of the original selling price. But then developer would not tell the bank that actually the selling price is 900,000. It's just that we are helping the purchaser so that they can actually buy this property at zero down payment. We move up, or we flat this to 1 million. So 1 million versus 900,000, which is the correct price? The correct price is 900,000, not 1 million. But if they were to use correct price as 900,000, they cannot make the sales, because nobody can come out with 90,000 to buy cash down payment, and the bank doesn't want to take more risk by not following this. That means they collude and try to conceal, mislead. They will do something like this to give a higher amount, which end up giving facilitating the loan, and therefore buyer no need to come up with a zero down payment. So let's say in the third scenario, next year there is a reduction of a price. That means this price actually come down. Then if it's from the 1 million, that means when the developer sell the future units, they're selling at the SPA price, the sales and purchase agreement price, then it is still okay. But you know that the buyer would have problem buying at 1 million. So some buyer would say, I want to buy at 900,000. So if such is the case, if you look at the fourth scenario, if the new deals or if the new sales were made based on the old price of 900,000, then if there is a reduction of 5%, that means the actual market value of the property is actually 855,000. There is an immediate loss of 45,000 from the loan side. So the bank actually already lost 45,000. So if such a scenario happens with the market, then the bank is taking higher risk because it's loaning out more than what is required to loan. So if you compare here, 810, 855, this is still okay. But because it is loaning out 900,000, because trying to get zero down payment, so this is the problem. Then if the worst scenario happens, is like this. When there is an inflated sales and purchase agreement price, that means purposely to jack up even higher from 1 million to 1.1 million, then the loan will be given at 990,000 because it's 90%. So there is a cash rebate of 90,000. So in such a manner, this becomes cash to the purchaser. That means when the purchaser buy this unit at 1.1 million, actually the purchaser gets back 90,000 cash. And usually the developer side will say, okay, you take this 90,000 cash and then you can renovate your unit, make your unit looks good and furnish, and then you can do your open house party. So this is the very attractive deal that the purchaser thinks that by this way, suddenly he is richer by 90,000. So if such a scenario happen, let's say we get a fifth scenario now, that there is actually a market downtrend, and then there is a market selling at below 900,000 because the real value of this house is actually 900,000 only. So there is a market value, let's say at 880,000. Then the cash that is 90,000 already spent on the renovation of the house, right? Or maybe just go and buy another car, new car, and then have a nice wife and getting a good holiday overseas. Then you actually have an issue that this person, this particular unit, the actual value left is only about 800,000. So when the bank is loaning out 990,000, there is a gap of 190,000 that is missing. So this is the risk that this bank is taking, and therefore the bank negara wants to actually regulate this, right? And a lot of time this inflated price is not just to buy one unit. There are people who want to take this amount of money. They say they multiply this amount. That means it's called the compression submission. So they will submit to 4-5 banks at the same time this particular application. And then 4-5 banks will get it approved because they thought that it's the same house. It's actually one person buying it. So that means this person, in fact, buying 5 units of the same house in the same developer, and then end up getting 5 times 90,000, 450,000 cash. And therefore, he thought that he can get away because 450,000 cash he can last for many months, because the 450,000 cash can make monthly repayment to the bank for a while. So this 450,000 become a monthly installment payment for all the 5 units of the inflated condominium. And then upon paying up, he may be a nice guy he may be a nice guy, never go and do funny things and go for holiday or anything. He probably pay up within a few months, and then trying to get because this house may be ready for rental, then he try to get it rented out and then try to make money from rental, so that he hopes that the rental can pay up the loan also, the loan installment also. But then the market is being very difficult, so he could have a situation like even the whole year unable to get a tenant, and then even the tenant moving in with the renovation so nicely, he probably is renting out at below market, and end up he probably also have problem of collecting rental, and at the same time having to pay the installment of 5 units at the whole lot of burden on him. So the 450,000 probably lasts him for 1 to 2 years, and then he will probably end up bankrupt with a situation like this. So this money, the risk end up to the bank's book lah. So the bank's book suddenly actually become about let's say this is 190 or 200,000 lah. So he has 5 units. That means this is a 1 million deficit for the bank. So bank is somehow cheated with the 5 units, and then at the difference of almost a million. So this is the reason why Bank Negara and the Association of Banks want to issue this statement to the developers. So we just come to a conclusion that the risk, in fact, for residential is much less, in fact less than the commercial and the land. So of course the 90% is based on residential. If it's commercial or land, then the risk is higher, because maybe the business is not good, then there are reason that they terminate the business. Therefore, the bank would have to call it a day because they cannot keep on financing the business. So therefore, the bank would have a higher risk for the business mortgages. So the business mortgages usually don't get the high margin like 90%, probably 80 or 70%. Land is even less because land is not producing any monthly income. So therefore, land, vacant land or barren land with no accessible roads, you usually cannot get a lot of margin of loan. So let's say now we said that there is no now payment, people cannot come up with money, therefore they cannot buy property, and there is a very sad thing to say to people who are looking for just one roof over the head. But it's not true. In fact, there are a lot of government projects like Perumahan Rakyat and Prima, which gives away 100% loan. So these are usually partner with banks. So banks are the partners in this whole project, and therefore the bank can give away 100% because they are very well screened. In fact, there are reasons that the government do this project for first house owner. If you are investor, sorry this particular category is for people who are buying it for own use, and then you have a certain terms and condition that you cannot sell the house over the next 5 years or 10 years. So this type of housing projects are usually there is no issue of multiple submission, and also no issue of inflated SPA price. And of course, the old Chinese way that only you have enough money only and unless you have enough money, you don't go and buy expensive things. So our forefathers and our grandparents, when they buy cars or buy motorbike, they would save enough and then try to cut down the loan. But then now the society in a way is not thinking like that. Our society has the ugly side. So developer wants it quick sales and good sales and bigger earnings, and then buyers also, they don't have the time to wait because when you are graduating from school, you want to look good, so you want to start a family and big houses, probably go holiday and have honeymoon, so you want good Facebook people want to see a good side of the success rather than the delayed gratitude. So there is no delayed gratitude for a lot of people. Then the bank also, they have no choice. Sometimes they need to touch bigger targets and then try to achieve bigger target to get the year-end bonus. So the bankers also try to squeeze higher amount of loan, giving out more loan and giving out easier for processing so that they can close their deal. So this is the ugly side of our society. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation. I hope it could have maybe answered some of the questions and make it more meaningful in the understanding of the real estate market. Thank you very much.